Well, hi everyone. We are so lucky to have with us our Chief Academic Officer, Alison Yoshimoto-Towery. Alison, can you tell us, elementary parents who are going to send their kids back to school, what are the choices that they have in their programs?
That's a great question, Mr. Schmolson. And I'm also an LAUSD parent, and I want our parents to know that this is an important decision and it's a very personal decision. So for elementary, you're going to make a decision as to whether or not you'd like to send your child back to school for, it's a half day model, either the morning 3 hours, 8 to 11, or the afternoon from 12 to 3. One of the ways you'll decide if you're going to go AM PM is that you will work with your school principal by filling out a family selection survey that got emailed to all parents this week, March 11th. And there will be also a paper copy being sent home to all families as well, where you could make your selection to tell us if you're going to come back to school or not. Then principals will take that information and try to balance the classes so that they can let you know, whether you're in an AM class or an afternoon class. And we're going to make sure that siblings stay together and
Yeah,
that
that's
families stay
important. So
important.
let me ask you a question. Suppose someone says, I want my child to remain all day at the elementary school. Is that an option too?
Right. So many of us work and our families need childcare after school. So if your child's in a morning class, you can request childcare at your school site for the afternoon portion. Our childcare is open from 8 to 4 p.m. at all of our elementary schools. And if you're in the afternoon portion, you can have childcare in the morning for the morning section. So certainly that is also available.
Oh, that's wonderful. And also, parents do have the option of remaining at home on online learning if they choose. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So if you'd like
Okay.
to stay at home with online learning, that works as well.
Sounds like there's something for everyone. That's great. Let's transition over to secondary. How is secondary going to work, Allison?
So secondary is a slightly different model. It's a little bit more complex because in secondary, when we're trying to maintain very stable groups of students together, so for safety reasons, we actually don't want hundreds of students to gather together. And when students go from period 1 to 3 to period 5, and then to athletics or to another elective, and then on the bus, when we have schools that have students from 10, 20, 30, 40 zip codes, it can grow very big, the group size. So in secondary right now, just as the first stepping stone, we're going to start by having our students return back by their advisory class. And that is their teacher with whom they take advisory. And the students will stay in that room for the remainder of the day and still connect with their other classrooms online. So students will come to school, they'll have 30 minutes of live interaction with their peers and their teacher, and then they'll get online, they'll go to period 1, they'll go to period 3, they'll go to period 5, and then they'll have some more live interaction time, including lunch and passing periods. So we think it'll be healthy for kids to be back at school in general, to have time to interact with their friends, to make new friends, and also to be learning with some in-person supports. For secondary, kids will go every other day. So it'll be 1 week, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and perhaps the next week, Tuesday, Thursday. And the other days they'll be learning from home, also online with their
I
colleagues.
got it. And I was a secondary administrator and I did scheduling, so I know how complicated a secondary student schedule could be. I mean, some kids have algebra, some kids have algebra 2, some kids have geometry, some kids have trigonometry, some kids have French, some kids have German. So I understand that this model, although it's not what we really would love to do, it's the best thing that we can do right now. And I think what kids in secondary school want the most is to be able to socialize again and see real people at school. So this is the best deal I think that we can do for this short time. So I appreciate that very much. And of course, for secondary also, Allison, kids can stay home in secondary school and be learning from home also, right? Full time?
That's correct. When in fact we do return to school, if you select to stay online, but then you change your mind, there will be an opportunity, we believe, in about 2-week increments to then opt back in to return to campus. And of course, vice versa. If you start at campus and there's a reason why you feel uncomfortable, you can certainly opt to go back online.
That's wonderful. Would you just briefly mention something about early ed, because that's another factor, early ed.
Thank you, Mr. Schmerelson. For early education, we will also be opening our early education programs for our pre-kindergarten students across the district. We're going to begin with 12 students in each class. Again, to bring students back in the safest manner possible, we want to have the class size be only 12 with 3 adults, a teacher, and 2 assistants. And we will be open from 8 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And our students will have the opportunity to learn, develop their literacy skills, their language skills, their math skills. And certainly we will grow classes as needed. As more students come back, we'll be able to grow and open more classes in
That's
early.
wonderful. That's great. And it's 5 days a week for our preschool kids. Is that
Thank you
correct?
for mentioning that. Yes, it's 5 days a week. And we also have early education programs on our elementary school campuses for students that are in state preschool or expanded transitional kindergarten at your elementary school site. Those programs will be AM and PM for our students who are pre-K that are on elementary school sites. So the bottom line is speak to your principal if you have a question, because they will be able to tell you what your schedule will be for the school that you're at.
Well, this was great, Allison. You took that big book of returning to school and made it simple for us to understand. So thank you so much for this session.
Thank you, Mr. Schmerelson. Thank you so much.